When my first book came out, which was blacklisted by mainstream media, despite having gotten a very generous advance in being the feature book at HarperCollins in its publishing season, I thought, well, anyone who reads this will never touch a medication again. Done. Case closed. I've made the point. There's a better way. And obviously that did not happen, which is why I wrote a second book largely about what it is that drives our devotional trust in a system that has never once demonstrated that it has our well-being in mind, nor that it defines health in the same way that we do, right? Most know that the conventional system is terrified of death, right? This is an existential issue that has been codified into an entire system that is now dominating the world orthodoxy, around this concept of health being just the absence of death. And that's not what we experience health as, right? We experience health as this very complex, dynamic vitalism, right? Which is more a chiropractor, sort of concept. They've been championing that for decades. So I've really come to understand this developmental, maturational arc that is the human journey, right? That requires a very important element, which is initiation to self. And in our country, I'll just speak for Americans, we have no relationship to that whatsoever, right? We don't know what it is to transition from dependency on our parents and our parents' worldview and navigating around that worldview, whether we reject it fiercely, which is what you're doing, what I've done, right? That rejection is still, kind of circumnavigating the authority of the parent. Sovereignty doesn't look like that. Adultification doesn't look like that. Individuation doesn't look like that. So how do you transition from either complying or defying with your parents or a projected authority, whether that's the medical system, the doctor, or the teacher, or the principal of the school, whatever it is, your boss? How do you transition from, that dependent patterning of relating to authority through these vectors into self-possession, into an understanding of who you are and that your essential self doesn't need anything else in the world to change in order for you to be okay, right? How do you access that spine and still have your heart soft and open? That normally is done indigenously, traditionally, through some sort of initiation ritual that is held by, the community at large, where you're reflected that when you think you're about to die, right? So let's say it's a vision quest or something like that. You don't die, and you come into contact with that deeper ground of being that will then support you as you understand who it is that you actually are, independent of those influences and conditioning and programming of your family of origin. So this should happen in our teen years, right? But instead we have this extended childhood that takes us through college, where we don't have any understanding of who it is that we are. And we are constantly following orders, encouraged to be obedient and compliant, and largely confined to a very, very small box of critical thought.